What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a recipe video. Yay! It's been a minute since I posted a recipe video and I'm so excited because this one is coming in real strong. I am so proud of all these recipes. Every single one of them turned out. I'm not gonna say how, but it turned out. And I would recommend watching until the very end because the last recipe I literally just made up off the top of my head. There might be similar recipes out there, but I didn't look at anything. I am always honest about that. I just came up with this on my own, so you'll have to wait and see how it turns out. It is a unique recipe, at least for me, and it was a really fun one. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, make sure to give it a thumbs up so my videos keep getting out there in the YouTube sphere. And yeah, subscribe if you're new, and let's get cooking.
All right. Ooh, baby, just hold tight. We're up at the moonlight. Believe in the magic.
Garlic tomato feta TikTok pasta. Here are the ingredients you're gonna need for this recipe. Some olive oil, basil, oregano, spicy Italian seasoning or any Italian seasoning you have on hand, pepper, salt, some small tomatoes, your favorite feta. I'm using the Greek feta from Trader Joe's, and your whole cloves of garlic. You're gonna start this recipe by peeling all your garlic cloves and cleaning them up. Next, you're going to take your feta out. This one has brine, so you have to drain that. You're going to place your feta blocks on your 9x9 pan and then sprinkle your tomatoes. Some of these tomatoes were big, so I cut them in half so that they were all the same size. I also then added whole garlic cloves to the entire thing. Some of the garlic cloves were a little bigger, so I cut those in half as well. Then you're gonna drizzle a good amount of olive oil, making sure that everything is well coated, and then I give it a good little mix with the spoon. Next, we're gonna add the seasonings. So you're gonna add your salt and pepper, your basil, you're gonna add oregano, and your spicy Italian mix. And then we're gonna go ahead and set the oven to 400 degrees. Make sure it's preheated. I forgot to film that part. And then I'm gonna go ahead and set the timer for 45 minutes. Now, I have a second timer going for 20 minutes. Once that 20-minute timer is up, it is time to start boiling the water for your pasta. I know it seems like 25 minutes before, but trust me, I have timed this out to perfection and I've missed the mark a lot because I used to wait 10 minutes before and I'd always be way too late on the pasta. So 20 minutes, you're gonna go ahead and boil your water, and now I'm adding this pasta. This is a really fun mix. I got this one at Home Goods, so it has like a bunch of really cool shapes and colors. So I'm gonna go ahead and boil my pasta and wait until it's fully cooked. And then the magic happens. So right as soon as the pasta is done, the timer goes off and we're ready to mix these two ingredients together. Look at how delicious this sauce looks. Now I'm gonna mix it all together. Make sure it's well mixed. And you know they're ready when your tomatoes start to look like they're bursting or peeling. So you can see the skins are literally falling off these tomatoes. So it's delicious. I can literally smell this through the screen right now, and it's bringing me back to wanting to make this again. So after this is well mixed, I usually dump the sauce straight into the pan. Dumping this sauce in the pan is a little tricky because the pan's very hot. So be careful, make sure you're wearing a hot pad on your hand. And then you're just gonna mix it all together, and it just is the most creamy, decadent sauce, and I can see why it got so popular on TikTok. This is just a really fun recipe. We make it usually once a month, and everybody enjoys it. There's usually very little leftovers. Vegetarian chicken skewers. Here's the ingredients that you're gonna need for this recipe. I started off with just rummaging around my fridge and I found this organic sweet and spicy pineapple BBQ sauce. I'm also using some cremini mushrooms, some zucchini. I love me some veggies on a skewer. Definitely need some tri-colored bell peppers and some chicken. I'm using the Light Life Smart Tenders. If you're not a vegetarian, obviously use real chicken. Some pineapple chunks. I took the convenient route and used pre-cut, and then 1 onion. First, we're gonna go ahead and clean and separate the stems from the mushrooms. And I'm putting this in a very large bowl. Make sure it's large, especially because we're using so many vegetables and we're gonna be marinating all these in this bowl. So you gotta make sure you have a big enough bowl to fit all these veggies. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and grab my zucchini, cut off the ends. I already pre-washed this, and I like to have big chunks of zucchini because it holds up better when you're putting them on to the barbecue. So make sure you're not cutting them too small because then they just fall off. And if you skewer these, they end up just kind of falling apart. Next, we're gonna go ahead and clean out the bell peppers and get all the seeds and then cut them into the correct sizes. I went with all 3 colors because why not? It makes it look so pretty. And I don't know, when I have colorful food, it really makes me want to eat it more. Now that I got the bell peppers cut to the size I want, I'm gonna go to the onion next. The hardest part about the onion is like peeling the outside of it. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut these, and I tried to do like triangle pieces, but you know, it was kind of tough. I need a better technique for the onion cutting, to be honest. It still worked out. And now I have my chicken, and this is really easy because it all comes kind of like chunked together. So I just cut it into cubes and break it apart, throw it all into the mix with the veggies. Now, if you have real chicken, I'm not sure if that's recommended or not, but you guys probably know better than I do. Now we're gonna add the barbecue sauce, and I just dumped the rest of this whole thing in there. I really wanted to make sure everything was well marinated and coated very well. You'll notice I did not put the pineapple in because it doesn't really need the sauce on there. Definitely need to do salt and pepper. Be heavy on the salt if you want those flavors to come out. There's a lot of vegetables in here, and the salt really helps the flavor in all of the barbecue sauce. I'm adding just a tad bit of water to thin it out so that it just gets coated a little bit easier. If you don't have as thick of a sauce as I used, you're probably fine. Then you're gonna go ahead and put a lid on it or cover it and then let it sit for about 30 minutes or longer. Next, I'm getting my wooden skewers, and I did let these soak in some water just so that they don't burn on the barbecue. I don't know if that's necessary, but I just wanted to make sure. So these soaked in water for about 10 minutes. Now I'm gonna go ahead and skewer all of my vegetables and the little chicken pieces, the chickenless chicken, and just continue to do this process throughout. So you can see they look amazing. And at the very end, I dumped a little bit of the sauce back on top. This is a messy one, you guys. My hands were covered in barbecue sauce. And as you can tell, I was wearing my work shirt. So I was doing this as fast as I could before I had to rush out the door and go to work. Mom life, am I right? So this one, you can see my hands were covered. Yuck. But it was worth it for the finished product. So now Tim is going to go ahead and put these babies on the grill.
So first off, you're going to make sure you turn your barbecue on and hit that ignition button and get it nice and hot. When we open up the barbecue here, we got to make sure that we're spacing out our skewers so that way they can cook evenly and they have enough space. So I'm putting these on the right hand side of my barbecue. Go ahead and put yours wherever you want, but Katie and I have this agreement where the right side of the barbecue is the vegetarian, no meat side, and the left side is where I can put all of my meats if I want. And then we'll let these things cook. You want to make sure that you're utilizing the heat. So make sure you're turning these and you don't have them cooked too much on one side and not on the other. And then, oh, looks like I lost a pineapple. Put that back on there. Flip these guys. And then when we're all set, let's go ahead and take a look at how delicious this all looks. I mean, you see those grill marks. It looks ready to eat. Everything on here, except for the mushrooms, looks delicious. And let me tell you, these were really good.
Taquito enchiladas and guacamole. Here is the ingredients you're going to need for this recipe. So I did 2 different types of taquitos. I did the chicken ones for Tim and my dad because he was working in our house on our cabinets. And I chose the black bean taquitos for myself. You also need the enchilada sauce, the Mexican blend cheese, and I'm topping this with a little bit of diced onion. You can do olives also if you want, or any creative toppings that you like. Also, I did 2 9x9 pans. Next, you're gonna wanna preheat the oven to 350. And in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and dice up these onions nice and small so that they give it a little bit of flavor and crunch to the top. I'm making mine first, so I got the black bean taquitos, and I'm just layering them. You want to do a single layer, don't do a double layer. Single layer and use as many as you would like. Now to the chicken ones, easy. They all fit easily in a 9x9. Next, you're going to want to evenly coat the taquitos, making sure to cover each one individually. You want them to stay nice and soft and moist in the oven so that they don't get hard. Next, I'm going to sprinkle these onions on top. I really wanted a flavor explosion, so that's why I added these. But of course, you could do olives as well. I would have added olives to mine if I had them, but I didn't have them on hand. So next time, and you can add whatever you want. You can do corn, anything really, to really make it your own. And then once you have your topping, I'm adding cheese to the top. So it's going to be really melty and cheesy. And I did not hold back on this cheese, as you can see. I really coated it, so it gives it a nice cheesy layer on top. Once you're done putting the cheese, place it in your oven, and you're going to set the timer for 20 minutes. While the taquitos are baking in the oven, I'm going to go ahead and quickly whip up my favorite guacamole recipe. I make this all the time. Here's the ingredients you're going to need to make this guacamole. We got some avocados. I didn't have a lime, so I'm using a lemon. Like I say, you can do exchanges here. Using 2 tomatoes. I love red onion in my guacamole. It makes it so delicious. Some fresh cilantro. And then, of course, all the seasonings. The jalapeno sauce sets this one apart, let me just say. It's delicious, it's spicy, and you can add as much or as little as you want. Now, I chose to use garlic powder today because I ran out of fresh garlic, but typically I would dice up some fresh garlic in my guacamole. I also love to add the chili lime seasoning from Trader Joe's, and of course, salt and pepper. I start this recipe off by cutting my avocados in half, and then I just hash them so that they're easier to break up in my bowl. And then I just scoop out the avocado and dump it into a nice big bowl. You'll see those 2 little avocados sitting on the side. Yeah, they looked a little not great, so I didn't want to add those. So I put them back in my fridge, and we put them on our eggs the next day. They tasted fine. Now I like to roll out my citrus because I really feel like it brings out the juices, and I like adding the citrus, in this case the lemon, first before I mash because I think it helps break down the avocado a little bit better. Hi, Dad. He just walked by. And I also like to add the seasonings so that when I mash it all together, it really just combines well with the avocado before I do the chunky ingredients, if that makes sense. Because I don't like mashing with the chunky ingredients, and then it makes just everything mushy. So I am adding all the seasonings. Now you can see I just eyeball these. I just kind of sprinkled a taste. Now, if you're not sure about how much to use, just try using a little at a time and add more, and just keep tasting it until you get a feel for how much you need. Now I'm just going to mash it up. I do like my guacamole to be a little bit chunky. I don't like all of the avocado to be perfectly pureed. So you can see I left it a little chunky. Now cutting my onion and finely dicing it just so that way the onion is well distributed throughout the recipe, so it's not like big chunks because, you know, red onion's pretty flavorful. Now I'm adding some cilantro. I just cut a little off the top. It's like a haircut for my little cilantro bunch. I guess there's a great way to preserve your cilantro or herbs. You can just put them in a glass jar and some water in your fridge. This one I actually just wrapped in a wet paper towel in a bag, and it lasted a really long time, but next time I'm going to try the jar trick. Now I'm going to the tomatoes. Now, a lot of people don't like tomatoes in their guac. I personally can't have guac without the tomatoes. I do like having a little bit of a smaller dice on the tomatoes because then you get a little bit of tomato, a little cilantro, and onion in each bite. So you mix it all up and it's ready to go. And look at that. It's perfect timing. My taquitos were ready right as my guacamole was being finished. Now look at the golden cheesiness that these taquitos are, the fresh guacamole, and the final product. This just looks so good, and it was. Let me just tell you, such a delicious and easy, fast meal. Ravioli lasagna. Here are the ingredients I used for this recipe. You're going to start by using a 9x9 pan. I chose this one because I really wasn't sure about this recipe. I came up with it on the top of my head, and here's the ingredients you're going to need. So I chose some garlic, some zucchini, some Rayo's marinara. I love this marinara, but you can really use anything that you have on hand. I'm also using the bell peppers that I used for the skewers, just getting use out of the stuff I had. Some ricotta cheese, some spinach and mozzarella raviolis. These are from Costco, but you can use them from really anywhere. I just wanted to use what I had. And then some mozzarella cheese. So first I decided to dice up all of my bell peppers, and I have this really handy dandy little machine that works so well. It perfectly dices everything, and it's literally all you have to do is smash it down. I'll link this in the description if you guys are curious. It's just on Amazon. So all of my bell peppers are nicely finely diced. Look at how beautiful that is. And I decided to put them all into this big bowl because I'm adding all the veggies together. Next, I decided to, I think it's called julienne. I don't know, could be wrong, but I wanted to very thinly slice these zucchini because this is going to be a barrier between the noodles and the sauce. So I didn't want anything seeping through. We'll get to that later. I hadn't used this slicer yet, so it was really fun using all the little parts that comes with this. There's like so many different chopping options, so it was cool to use a little slicer to finely slice the zucchini. Now I decided to dice up all the rest of the zucchini that I didn't use, kind of like the middles, because I didn't want to waste that, so I just added it to the bell pepper mix. I just think the more veggies, the better. Now I'm going to add some full garlic cloves. I don't even know how many I used. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm just using a garlic press. This one is from Williams and Sonoma. Tim got this for me for Christmas, and let me tell you, it was quite the splurge, but one of the most amazing machines. It literally takes no muscle to get this garlic out, and I had a cheapy one and it took a lot of muscle and I felt like I was gonna break it the whole time. So I was very grateful for this little stocking stuffer. Then I decided, you know what, I need some more veggies. This isn't enough. So I decided to use some onion as well. Sometimes if you do a really thick cut of veggie, it takes a little more oomph to get it to cut through. Now I'm going to add all of this back to my bowl, and we're going to go ahead and cook it up on the stove. So I added just a little olive oil, and then I'm adding all of those veggies that I just diced up. I think I sauteed these veggies for about 5 to 7 minutes until they got kind of translucent and it was like kind of watery at the bottom. I also added a good amount of salt and pepper. I used the Italian seasoning that I used before. I also used some basil, which I just dumped the rest. I need to go get more, so that's on my list for this week. Next, I used the rest of my Rayo's pasta sauce, and I just combined all of this together to make the most delicious smelling sauce. I can't even tell you, the house smelled so good. So I'm now ready to start the layering process, and I just did a little bit at the bottom just in case it would stick. I don't think it would, but I just wanted to make sure. So now I'm just evenly layering these raviolis. Now, it'd probably be easier to use square raviolis, but this is what I had on hand. Next, like I said, I'm using the zucchini as a barrier. It really helps prevent the sauce from seeping through. However, when you're ready to cut into it, when it's cooked, it does make it a little difficult, so you might need a knife. So I then spread an even layer of the ricotta, and now I'm adding my sauce mixture. Then I decided to do a little bit of Parmesan on top of that just to give it extra cheese. And then we're doing a second layer once again with the raviolis. And then we're going to do the zucchini on top of that as well. And then more ricotta. I ended up using the entire tub of ricotta. And I don't know if that's like a lot. I think it was a lot. But it turned out so good, you guys. I can't even tell you. So I was really proud of this recipe. Then, of course, you got to top it with more of the sauce and then a heaping helping of some mozzarella to just help make it bubbly and golden. I made this lasagna in the afternoon, planning to have it for dinner. So I just covered it with some foil. Make sure the foil is tinted. You do not want the foil touching your cheese because it'll just pull that layer off. I'm ready to cook now, so I preheated my oven at 375. You're going to put it into the oven with the foil on, and you're going to set your timer for 35 minutes. Now, this is a total cook time of 45, but after the 35 minutes, you're going to take that foil off and let that top layer of cheese finish melting and get cooked up so that it looks nice and golden. So you can see 10 more minutes in the oven, and it is ready. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how excited I was to try this, but also kind of nervous because I wasn't sure how it was gonna turn out, but it looked so good and the whole house smelled amazing. Check out the layers in this lasagna. Oh my gosh, this was so decadent. Tim is giving it the final approval. Let's see what he thinks. So because I made this, I didn't want to be biased and try it and say it's delicious. And so Tim's going to try it and he's picky. So let's see what you think.
Here we go.
Such a big bite.
That's bomb.
Is it?
It's bomb. It
Yay!
is really good. Like the ricotta cheese in there, that's what ties in the ravioli with the rest of make it feel like it's a lasagna. But that's really good.
Awesome.
I'm definitely going to enjoy this dinner.
Well, what did you all think? I hope I can see the reflection of your happiness in the thumbs up on this video. I really enjoyed making this video. It was a lot of fun and I got to be really experimental and try new things that I haven't done before. So if you guys like this type of video, please subscribe. Like I said, I'm gonna try to do more recipe videos now. I really appreciate all of you guys watching this video and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.